Ayo, what up, though? Welcome to the Living Purpose Podcast, where we educate, motivate, and celebrate those who are making a difference in the culture and the community. So, I am your host, Brad B. Rad Butler II. So, all right, let's get into it. So, today, you don't know this dude right next to me? You should know him because you've heard me say his name a number of times on the podcast before with people that we've had on here, prior guests. My guy, Dontae Muse. So, what's good with you, bro?
What's going on, brother?
Now, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. You are the owner, or co-owner, I should say, of Above Art Studios. So, if that sounds familiar to you guys, I'm always talking about Above Art Studios on the podcast because that is where we are located, right? So when you see some of the artwork, you see the books, all that stuff going on around here, this man is a part of the reason as to why we are able to have this, right? So I know people want to know, how'd you even get into wanting to own your own art gallery?
Well, the typical story would be, I was an artist and, I needed a space because people wouldn't provide it for me, but it's actually not my story. I'm a visual artist now. I didn't become a visual artist until we got the gallery. I was in music and, entertainment, event management, working in those fields. On top of other things I've done in business, finance and stuff like that. But we were looking for a space to continue in our music endeavors, actually. And during that time, we were working on a project with the Remy boys, who, back were hot at the time. Fetty Wap was doing his thing and all
Fetty
that.
Wap and all. Yeah, okay.
And we went to go shoot a video for one of the songs that never end up coming out. That's another thing with the music. A lot of stuff, gets shelved or lost, or, ends up not being the proper timing or how you roll it out. So, but in the process of going to shoot the music video, I had another one of my brothers who's a visual artist, customize some sneakers for me because I wanted to have, a one-on-one type of situation. Like you can go and, you can spend $1,000 on a pair of Louis Vuitton, but you ain't the only one that got them.
True.
Still, you spend all this money on it. You're not even exclusive like you think you're exclusive. So literally, I had to make something that was like nobody else could have. During that conversation, he stated that he wanted to open up an art gallery, and my partner and I were already looking for a space, to open up. And we said, you know what? How about we all come together? And we have it be, a total art space, so we can still do our music, still get our performance and everything, which is why it was important that we had the stage in here, so I built the stage when we came in.
Oh, you built the stage?
Yeah, I built that myself. Took me 2 weeks. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I built that myself. And during the process, he decided he wanted to go in, kind of go his own route pretty much. The ideas that he had for what he wanted to do, they weren't aligning with what we were looking to do. He wanted more of like a private art studio kind of thing, where he can invite people to come and do gatherings and stuff. Like he wanted murals all over the walls and everything.
So like super upscale type of thing? Or?
No. Very urban, very urban.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like no blue chip galleries or high end galleries you walk into are gonna have anything other than white walls.
Right.
They definitely not gonna have murals all over their walls. And,
right.
Clouds and everything. Look like the sky. It looks cool. When you walk to the space, that wasn't the aesthetic we were going for. Wasn't the type of crowd we were looking to pull in. We were looking to pull in collectors and buyers and be able to sell artwork at certain price points. And it's kind of like, his space was really cool and, we supported him and everything like that. But it's the difference of, you going to get brand new Benzes at the used car dealership is kind of confusing.
Right.
That's not the place that you get that from.
Right.
You can go there and get all the other stuff you need, but the Benz brand new ones at the dealership, and they dealerships look a certain way. It's clean, space, everything's streamlined. Like there's a certain certain air to it when you walk in, and that just we weren't in alignment with that. So it was like, all right, cool, go do your thing. He actually had his studio like 3 blocks from here for about 2 years. He had it for about 2 years. Before that situation, dissipated, he went on to do other things. But at that point, the seeds was already planted. I had already, told everybody I was opening up an art gallery. So at this point, I had to do it because I had already told everybody I was going to do it.
Backed yourself in a corner.
Yeah. So I had to figure out how to get it done because he was originally supposed to be taking care of all art and all art-related matters, bringing different artists in, rotating exhibitions, all of that, handling art, shipping, all of that. I was supposed to do any of that. And, my partner Will was handling, the music side of it. We do have a recording studio in the office. We haven't, opened it to the public yet because, with art being the face of the business with the gallery, we wanted to get that kind of down. We know how to do the music thing. Plus also it's draining. It's a lot of fun and, definitely, one of our favorite ways to express ourselves, and be creative. But it can be disheartening, when stuff don't come out if you work on these projects and all that, or, the reception is not what you want it to be. And most often than not, how they say a prophet is not appreciated in the town they grew up in.
Yeah.
You got to go other places, in order to get the reach and stuff like that anyway. So a lot of travel, wardrobe, especially if you're dealing with, black music often, and you don't have a certain, aesthetic, maybe grunge or backpack or whatever. So it's like you constantly spending money on stuff. You can't be caught in the same outfit twice, especially if, it's on video or filming like that. So it can be a lot. So we're like, you know what? Let's take a break from that. Let's focus on the visual art side. And then eventually, we'll get back into that. But, kind of hasn't happened full swing as of yet. But we're also, not in a rush. We like the lane that we're in, with the visual arts and, us being an award-winning art gallery, best art in New Jersey. So we're happy the way the journey turned out thus far.
Right. Now, the way that I came about, getting involved with, Above Art Studios, finding out about you guys, literally, I was just like, I think I saw something online. It was an event. It was an Eventbrite, an event that you put on, like a men's group. Yeah, so I saw that, and I was always looking to network with other people and stuff like that. So I saw that, came through, and I was like, wow, this is nice. Like, the first thing that caught my eye was the artwork, the beautiful artwork. And if you come into Above Art Studios, on all of the walls, I mean, y'all use every piece of space that y'all have to showcase artwork, right? And it's all beautiful, right? This is all beautiful artwork that I've seen here. Like, I've not seen one piece of artwork on these walls around here that was like, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit with the culture. It doesn't fit, So that's just always a thing that's kind of, I guess you could say, been a breath of fresh air for me. Walking in here and seeing, like, you can tell that it's raw, organic. No one's trying to copy somebody else's style. You can tell people are putting their heart and their soul, their passion into this work. And I appreciate that type of stuff when I see it, because with me being a speaker, I put my heart and my soul into the presentations that I give. So when I see other people working in their gift, it's just like, wow, I can do nothing but appreciate it. So that's what intrigued me by it. And then come to find out that y'all were doing more events. Like, it was more stuff to it. Like, you had the paint and sip. You had all these different events that y'all had going on here. Women's empowerment groups. Like, it was crazy, all the different things that y'all were doing. So for y'all to be where you currently are today, making it through the pandemic, that's crazy in itself. There are a lot of Fortune 500 companies that was like, we got to shut down some of these locations. And for you to be a small business and be able to sustain all the way through, that's a testament to your resiliency, your grit, grind, that this actually means something to you, right? So I just want to let you know, give you your flowers now, that we appreciate you for keeping Above Art Studios around. Listen, Above Art Studios is the reason I was able to partner up and connect with the Hidden Gems, with Ray and Kyler and Truth. Like, so without you being here and creating this space, I don't know what some of my, connections would have been like. Like, because right now, me, Kyler, Ray, Truth, we rolling, right? And that comes from you creating an environment for like-minded individuals to be able to come together. So
Yeah, I still definitely remember, that first date when you came to the meeting and everything. And, you say it was like, yeah, I'm a speaker, and I don't know if you had spoke anywhere before then at all, but you had conviction and you were claiming it, and you were like, yeah, I'm a speaker, and I'm gonna be the #1 speaker in New Jersey, and I'm just thinking in my head like, oh yeah, okay, and then you started going. I was like, oh, he about to give us a speech right now. And I was like, you know what? Let him rock, because he said he's going to be the #1 speaker in New Jersey. This is exactly what's going through my head. Right. I was like, oh, he about to get a speech. All right, go ahead. Don't interrupt him. Let him rock. He said he's going to be the #1 speaker in New Jersey. I'm sure that's going to take some practice. Right. Let him go ahead and get this practice out. You know what I mean? Let me see these points. Let me see what's going on. And, and I sat back and enjoyed the show. And I think maybe the next 2 times you came up, same thing, regardless of what it was. I think you might have come to a painted poetry or something. I don't know. Like, everything you were popping up at, like, I expected a speech, at least a mini clip, kind of thing. And it was like, all right, this guy he's going to be what he said he's going to be, because everywhere he goes, he's giving you a speech, bro. So he's going to be a speaker, like, for real. So I was like, all right, I see that. Keep doing, keep being who you are. Right. You claim that as who you are, so keep being who you are, unapologetically all the time. So I was like, all right, man, I definitely saw it. Definitely by the second or third time, I was like, oh yeah, he don't stop. I'm like, yeah, he gonna get it. Like, he gonna get it.
Yo, and it's crazy because when you think back to the very first time we met each other and everything like that, to where we are now. You were already doing your thing. Like, you were already getting awards and stuff like that, but I knew I was still working on some stuff. Back then, I still had a job, and I was speaking on the side. I was able to get paid, but I wasn't able to do it full time yet. Now, some time has passed, and I've transitioned into, full time with this thing, and being able to speak in other countries, being able to speak across the country itself, right? It's like I spoke all that into existence. So let me ask you, with the studio and all that you've accomplished here, is that something that you spoke into existence? Like, you were just saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to find a way to get this done. Or was it just like it kind of fell in your lap?
So once we decided what we wanted to do, it wasn't done, but it was done.
Gotcha.
Like, when I said I'm going to open an art gallery, I had no idea how I was going to do it, how it was going to look. At that time, I didn't know anything really about visual art other than I like it. Right. That was it. I like looking at dope art. Like being at artsy events and everything. That's my vibe. Come from poetry and writing and instrumentation and everything. Like, that's my vibe. So I always enjoyed that, but I never really looked into any intricacies, techniques, styles, anything. Like, I never paid attention to it because I never had a reason or was led to that. Mm-hmm. But when I said it, everything in me knew it. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing doubted. I didn't even get the subconscious voice was like, oh, how you going to do that? That little pushback you might get. You kind of got to keep affirming. And, it was like, I didn't even get that. So I knew it was going to happen. And I think, so I know, like, a lot of the times, and even with myself, while we might not get, progress, or at least as expeditiously as we would like it, is we don't have that conviction. We haven't really made our mind up of what it is we want. So we teetering. So the universe is like, when you're ready, let me know what it is you want, Yeah. We haven't had that conviction because I think we're afraid to be kind of pigeonholed. If you make a choice, like, we think that's it, but you can make another choice later once, you know what I mean? But I don't think we're processing it like that. So we don't make definitive decisions and things don't start aligning to make it happen. But when I said that, like, I knew it was going to happen, and things started moving to make it happen. So even with, me finding, one of my very first mentors in the art space, rest in peace, Jerry Gant, huge legend in the arts in New Jersey, particularly in Newark. You know, he was running around with Samuel Al-Diaz and Basquiat. You know, they were painting. You know, as kids and teenagers. You know, when Basquiat was swinging through Newark. Right. You know, he was with him when he met Warhol. You know, like different things like that. So I got a fast forward. You know, on a lot of experiences. You know, tons of stories. And even though he had never owned his own, you know, public art space, just being in, you know, the community and everything, he fast forwarded a lot of that for me. Helped, you know, build relationships with other people, you know, arts administrators. Like, it was like, okay, if Jerry's looking at this guy, has to be something he sees in him, type of thing. So opened a lot of doors for me, and really helped me move this thing, you know, faster. And further than I would have been able to do, you know, without it. But I dove right in once, you know, especially once my would-be partner pulled out. Now I'm like, I got to learn about art, you know. So we were having our opening, we were getting the keys in another couple of weeks. And we visited, I think, like 14 or 15 galleries in those couple of weeks, you know, including driving all the way down to North Carolina. From
I was about to say, was it just in New Jersey or?
Nah. So at the time, this was 2016. So a pretty known artist at this time, Whitney Austin. She has something like, you know, 250,000 followers or something like that on the gram. Back then, I think she only had like 60,000 something, which is still a lot.
Yeah, still
significant, but you know, it's not the 250,000 it is right now. You know, 6 years later. But she was opening her first gallery space, so we wanted to see, you know, a black art gallery. You know, we had never really been to one. There weren't like spaces that were really totally owned and operated, you know, by us. So we wanted to go down there and see it and get a little different flavor of how a reception should be and everything. So we went down there for that. That was, you know, a quick weekend trip, and, you know, visited a lot of different spaces, and then, you know, remixed everything, put our own flavor on stuff. You see, we have a red column in here. I haven't seen that anywhere else, but we wanted to not it be totally white and bland, you know, like it had to be us. Had to, you know, have some personality in there,
right?
You know, a little bit of flavor and swag. So we made everything, you know, us, our version of, you know, what this should look like. So yeah, a lot of research, but once I decided it was going to happen, things were opening up. Like, you should be here, or, you know, somebody tell me something about this, or, you know, and you get to the spot, you magically bump into somebody or something. Like when I met Jerry, I didn't have any idea who he was. And then actually when I met him, like a week later, I was at another art event, because this was during that whole scramble time, and I was speaking to an artist, just trying to meet artists, and she was like, oh, you know, you're doing this and that, and blah, 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 and you should meet, you know, Jerry Gant. And, you know, she's like, I really, you know, wish, you know, he would mention me, but he's kind of like, he don't really mess with people like that, you know, type of thing. You know, older, wild mouth guy, you know, to say
first
no
thing
filter, like, you know what I mean, type of thing, you know, which was always had me dying laughing.
Like, did my man just say that?
Like, yeah, all types of stuff.
You know, he lucky he an elder.
He ain't never seen nothing wild to me, but, you know, I just hearing him talk was like, bro, you nuts. But we had hit it off. Just me actually walking up to his art and observing it, him walking over, and me not knowing who he was at all. You know, it's a really authentic, genuine conversation. And then when I was with the young lady the following week, and she's talking about him and all this and that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know who this guy is. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't put it together.
Right.
I also didn't remember his last name at the time neither. So literally, as we're talking about him, I'm saying, I don't know who he is. He's coming down the hallway of this spot, and he sees me, and we both like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? But we hadn't talked since the week before, where we just met each other. You know, we didn't exchange information anything the first time we met. But when we saw each other, the original conversation was, you know, so genuine as it was embracing. When we saw each other again, it was like, oh, what's up, my guy? You know, this and that. So, you know. And I finished talking to him for a minute. I did get his, you know, his number then or whatever. And then I turned around to finish the conversation with her. And she's sitting there looking at me like, I thought you didn't know him. I'm like, Oh, that's who you
That's
talking about.
oh, that's that.
That's the guy everybody bigging up. I'm like, yeah, he mad cool. Yeah, this is that.
Ain't that weird? Yo, I find that weird sometimes when it's like when you meet someone who is at the top of their game, top of their level. Like people look at him at like, okay, mentor, that type of thing, and you've been able to cultivate this genuine relationship with this individual, and everybody else start looking at you like, yo, how did you get to like? And it's like, yo, I was just being me. They were just being them, and it happened naturally. Like my mentor, Jeremy Anderson. I'm talking about, man, giant in the industry, right? In the speaking industry, and nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And he'll give you the shirt off his back. You know what I'm saying? But it's just hard for people to get to him because he's moving, shaking, doing everything he's doing. So when people see me, they be like, "Yo, what's Jeremy like? What he like?" You know, I'm like, "Yo, he's a regular human being. He's a decent human being." Like, and it also changes your relationship with that person. Why? Because you know that the average person, when they see them, they're like trying to get something. Yeah. What can I get from this situation? Whereas when I would see my mentor Jeremy, one of the first things I normally would ask is like, "Yo, how's your heart? How's your mind? How's your spirit? Like, how are you physically? Like, how are you? Are you okay?" And he'd be like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm strong. I'm this and that." And they appreciate that type of conversation over you. "Oh man, I saw that last gig you did, man. That was great. Blah, blah, blah. Last piece of art you did, that was great. This is oh man, you're the best ever." They don't want to hear that. They got so many other people that's already doing that on the outside. Like when you're close to them, they want the truth. That's why they're so close to you. That's why they allow you to get close to them. So it's just one of those things. So for all y'all out there, like when you get close to the people that you really want to, or you maybe you idolize or you want to be your mentor, be genuine when you meet them. That's not the time for you to have a fanboy, fangirl moment. Just be genuine. Hey, how you doing? This is what I do. I really love the work that you do, blah, blah, blah. And there's any way that you can add value to their life, then do it, right? And don't expect nothing in return. Don't expect no money and nothing like that. Just if I can add value to your life, I'll do it, as best I possibly can. But don't be going to these people with like looking for a handout and stuff
stalk
like that.
a little bit.
Yeah.
If you need to.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that because you're trying to get information. You're trying to learn.
Not non-violently and non-creepy.
Yeah.
Just pop up.
Don't be sliding in DMs at like 4 in the morning. Don't do that.
Relatively, regularly. One is showing support, so you're giving. Is also showing that, you're studious. And no, I don't think any mentor kind of want to waste their breath. So if you always there, kind of taking notes, whether or not you're literally taking notes, but they can see you absorbing, and they're going to see that by your implementation of that information. But they'll start to take notice 100%. So just keep being hungry and keep being around for it and be determined. If you know that person has something for you, be determined to get that information regardless. And they're gonna trickle it out. It's gonna pour out of their pores at some point in time. So just keep being present, keep being around, and you'll get noticed doing it anyway. So
yeah. So take me back. Who was Dontae before the art studio? Before all this happened with Above Art Studio, what were you into? What were you doing? Where were you working? Like, what were you like? What led up to that?
I was doing a lot.
It's funny when you ask entrepreneurs about that because like it's hard. We don't even want to think about what life was like before we started living in purpose. But I got to force you to go back there.
Well, I've had many jobs.
Just like me.
I've had many jobs. Sometimes work more than one. Started working when I was 16, even though I was already DJing, already throwing, paid events and stuff like that. Ironically, I had never looked at anything that I was doing as I should continue to do this or scale this up, anything. It was still tradition. Go to school, get a job, work for somebody else, work in the industry or, civil service or something like that. Like, it never clicked. I didn't have, that example. And, like, nobody ever even suggested that at all. It was like, hey, you've been doing this. You figure out, like, this is natural to you, event planning, gathering people, all that. why don't you just keep doing what it is you're doing? You've proven you can make money at it. It was just like, nah, I'll do it. You know, make a little bag, go blow it on some stuff. You know what I mean? Especially back when, you know, the authentic jerseys was out. That was $300-$400 per jersey, all that. You know, I would get 2 of those a week type stuff, you know.
Flip them.
Yeah, not even. I wish I was on it like that. I was kind of running through stuff. I was giving girls, you know, jerseys to make jersey dresses out of and all that stuff. Like, you know, the wardrobe was crazy. I was just running through stuff. You know, I was doing a little hustling and all that. Like I was doing, you know, I never really truly appreciated or knew what it was that I had or how to handle what it was that I had, right. And figure out a way to, you know, monetize on my abilities. You know, at least consistently. Right. So I was always a, you know, unaware entrepreneur, you know. But when I got out of undergrad, about a year after undergrad, I started a marketing company. Did that for about 2.5 years. Learned a whole lot. Sales skills got bananas. You know, even just the psychology of it, reading, you know, body language, knowing when to pull off, when to go back in, how, you know, catching them at the peak, you know, closing, maximizing, like everything. Definitely skills that helped me break out of my extreme introversion.
You was hitting them with the feel, felt, found?
Oh, yeah, definitely had to do that. All the impulse factors,
yep.
You know what I mean? You know, yeah, greed factor. Oh, yeah, you know, Tony up the road. Yeah, well, Tony got 2 of these. Let me tell you why. You know what I mean? Like, all types of stuff. Like, you know, which everything that I've done, I needed, you know, to come together now. And as you're going through it, you might not realize, like, oh, why am I doing this? And the learning curve is so fast as I get to another spot, and it's like once I've learned everything I could in that position, I'm bored now. You know? So either I start looking for something else, or I start slacking, you know what I mean? And then now they like, all right, we got to let you go. But I was always so smooth. It was always in a way. It was like, all right, cool. Well, you got to pay me unemployment, though. You know what I mean? Give me a couple months to go and bullshit or do a couple parties or start traveling, you know, all over the place for a few months and then get back into it, whatever. So definitely took advantage of that, you know, a few times. Probably had unemployment like 4 times in my life. You know, yeah, everything was sly. You couldn't let me go without paying me. Like, I was clever. Them interviews, they call, oh, yeah, well, this is what happened, you know what I mean? And they be, yeah, so you were awarded. All right, cool. I mean, let's get that coming in.
You did what you needed to do to stay afloat. I get it.
Always. Listen. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to start.
So, were the majority of your jobs, were they like majority of them sales jobs or?
No.
You just developed that skill set.
Yeah, so I had to develop it in with the marketing company. Like I had to, because a lot of it, I was generating. Like we had some like accounts and stuff like that, but it was a business-to-business situation, so I would have to go into businesses and talk them into, you know, letting me do things or buying things or getting services and stuff like that. And I had to. It was a numbers game. So you know, you're going to get X amount of yeses, you know, with anything. Your social media, you know, everybody's not going to convert. So just the larger the pool is at the top of the funnel, obviously, the more results you're going to have. Right. And then as you start getting better at certain things and your closing ratio gets higher, the better results you have as well too. So I would do as much as I can. So you got to talk to, you know, 50 to 100 different businesses a day, you know, in order for you to get, you know, the 5 or 10 that you need to get everything clicking. So just that, you know, that quantity and that exposure really helped refine, you know, a lot of things. So where you're not even thinking about it, you know, it's literally you just responding, you know, the different, they say, bam, you go right into
muscle
this.
memory.
Like, just like that, you know.
You ever hit somebody with the walkout clothes?
So
I just hit him with the walkout clothes.
The other sales thing I did, I was in the car industry for about 4.5 years. So I definitely, you know, kind of left it on the table as, you know, this is what it is. You know, there's nothing else for us to discuss. So I'll be over here taking care of something else. You know, if you should decide you want to go ahead and do that.
Walkout clothes, that thing worked the best when it's a husband and wife.
Wow.
When it's a husband, when they're going back and forth trying to figure out, make a decision. But hey, listen, this is the best offer that I got for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all talk about it. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Boom, walk out. Like whichever one of them was on your side, they're gonna argue for you. Well, he said, and we good. Man, look, we should go ahead and give. Well, I don't know. Damn, you let them go back and forth. 5 minutes, come back in. Now it's 2-on-1. It's like, all right, boom, there it is, we done.
Yeah. Those skills of invaluable just across many walks of life. Just negotiating deals, making proposals for different programming or anything. You would definitely need that. I recommend anybody had that. But those are really the two industries outside of some street stuff where I had to sell stuff.
Operating outside the law for a hot second.
Yeah, but I was in investments. I was at MetLife, working on
life insurance,
annuities, not insurance, but 403bs, IRAs, investment vehicles type of stuff.
Risk management.
I did personal banking. Was a credit proponent at Wells Fargo, working on business credit and stuff like that. With small businesses. So I've done a couple of things where other people had to cut me checks and things like that. I still teach. As an adjunct, graphic design.
Oh, right.
Well too. So the Institute of Music for Children in Elizabeth. So I'm actually on the advisory board, and really good friends with the executive director. So she asked me, they were just looking for a teacher a couple of years ago for the summer program, and they asked me for one teacher first for fashion. So I sent them to an artist that we had worked with, who had just recently got out of school, and even her art was fashion art. So the mock-ups of the styles that people would do the sketches and stuff, she would do a version of that in paintings.
Got
or whatever,
it. Yeah.
So her whole thing was fashion. So when I got the call, thought of her first, top of mind, sent her over there, and then Alicia hit me back. She was like, yeah, so I need a graphic design teacher, whatever. So then I asked the question. I'm like, well, how much you paying these people? She's like, yeah, it's $50 an hour. I said, oh well, I'll do it. I'm not about to keep sending you all these artists and stuff, you know what I mean? I said, oh, no, I'll do it. So you can I'll make time. Don't worry about it. My schedule is flexible. I'm going to move this around, move that around. You need me to do it what days, what out? All right, cool. I'm there. We're going to work this out. And I have more than enough time, to do whatever.
And nah, don't worry about it. I got this. Yeah, I got this slick. Yeah. Don't even worry about it.
I got it. I'm not about to, granted, I take care of other people and all that. But it's you know what? How about I do a little less hustling over here, a little less finding, and this is guaranteed situation. Right. You know what I mean? It's easy. I'm they feeding me lunch all the time. I'm you know what? This is a nice cushy situation. Let me go ahead and do this or whatever. So, summers. Well, last year we didn't have my program in the summer camp, and everything was still kind of locked up a little bit or whatever. But summers is it's every other. So 1 week is 20 hours, other week is 24. And it's banking hours. So I'm done by 3 o'clock type of situation. Got the whole day to do whatever. But right now during the school year, just one night a week for 3 hours, and it's let me go get that.
Real quick. Ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You know what I mean? Is literally walking distance from the crib. It's you know what? Let me go ahead and get that. So I still do, have little jobs, and little stuff that I do, whatever. But most of them are built off of relationships. And
listen, ain't nothing wrong with that. I talk to my team. I'm like, what? We got something local, something right here in New Jersey. Yeah, we go ahead and get that real quick. They ain't worry about that. I hop on stage and do my thing for a couple. Yeah, we'll get that. Not every engagement is going to take me across the country. And I'm and that's fine. I'm cool with that. If anything, I like doing more work around New Jersey, being able to help out the community and the schools around here. Why not? I'm from New Jersey. Obviously, I want to see things moving in a positive direction. But if they calling me to come out to Ohio and Maine and California and Arkansas and all that stuff, I'm going. Yeah, I got to go. But definitely, we ain't turning down nothing but our collar around here. Shoot, listen, we got bills got to get paid. Listen, I got my wife at home. Listen, got family. No, we got to take care of business first. We deal with the feelings part later. But okay, so we've dug into where you are now, your accomplishments, things that you've done now. We talked about your backstory a bit. You know, what led you to where you're currently at now. What do you have? Like, what aspirations do you have for the future?
And you know what? That's what I'm working on right now, really. And I was speaking earlier. I was really speaking to myself about definitiveness of purpose, which is not a Neil Goddard. It is a dang, now I can't remember the OG name. But one of the same school of thinking, and making up your mind, deciding what it is to do, where you see yourself, in the future. And I kind of, my whole life was real go with the flow, which
good and bad to that.
Good and bad. Good and bad to that. But I definitely understand, and if I didn't before, I do now. Once I made the decision that this was what I was going to do, like, it happened. And I know I do have that power to anything that I know is going to happen.
Right.
Like, I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, I've seen it in any other times I've used it, and I don't know why I've seen that and knowing how it works, I'm not more on it, but I'm getting on it now, So one of my mentors asked me that actually a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just really like, wow. So, like, I'm going to be on a statewide arts council. Definitely, like, the little local joints is cool, but, I'm either going to be like, Arts New Jersey or, working with the Secretary of State is the head of the arts for New Jersey as well, maybe working directly with her, but definitely being in a higher capacity in terms of arts administration. I'm definitely going to be in that place. So I will be on a statewide arts council, and I will be, a highly paid consultant for arts organizations, and my artist coaching business, is going to grow to the levels I need it at right now. I'm looking to have 50 members, and I will cop it at that because the hands-onness, I can't.
Yeah, you can't do it.
More than that, but I want to do 50 members in my Pay to Artist Club, which is our group coaching community. Right now we have 17. We just started in November, so my goal is 50 on that, and then really getting back into my one-on-one coaching as well too, to where I'm securing 4 or 5 clients a month with that program as well too. So those are the next goals that I'm looking at.
Okay, so we got your book right next to us, Tripping Over Canvases.
Yeah.
Right? So tell us about the book. Tell us about Tripping Over Canvases. Tell us about what made you, what sparked the thought in your mind to say, you know what, I can't just keep talking to people about this. I need to actually put this on, like, put pen to paper and make sure that I can put this in people's hands. They need this information. Yeah,
well, a couple of reasons. One, wanted to become an author so I can become an authority, which is why author is in the word. So when you've literally written the book on something, you have a different position, So I wanted to do that. Second, I wanted to provide something that I was looking for when I needed it and I couldn't find it. So anyone else that's coming behind me have an easier time, So I literally wrote, especially like mistakes, any nuances that you wouldn't know looking on the outside until you go through. It's like, oh, you got to do this little half a step in between. Oh, this doesn't work or that doesn't work, and things like that. You're only going to know going through it or talking to someone who's going through it.
Right.
Like, there's no other way to know. That step is not going to be listed anywhere. This pitfall is not going to be listed. A better way to do things. You're only going to get that from a mentor. So I wanted to have the books be, a mentor, in your pocket type of situation.
I'm glad you said that because I tell people all the time, when you're going out there and you're seeking mentorship from somebody, guidance from somebody, it's okay to ask questions. Oh, yeah. How did you do X, Y, and Z? And I'm notorious for that because I see people get burnt all the time, right? So my thing is, if I ask you a question about something that you say that you've been able to overcome, get through, make happen, you've seen some success. If I ask you a question and you cannot reverse engineer your success, walk me through the process of how you were able to become successful and replicate it, right? So not just that you can do it, but you can make it so that someone else can do it too. I can't rock with you if you can't show me how you're able to do that and show me that you've been able to do this for other people. It just doesn't make sense for me. I need some testimonials or something, like, because there's so many people that they're getting away with highway robbery out here. They just like, I can fix your credit. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. Like, I can teach you how to do. And it's like, well, where's the proof? Yeah. You don't have any proof. And I think that's why I'm so hard on people at times, because it's like when I'm working with speakers, right? I'm telling them you have to have proof. You have to show them proof. You can't go to these schools, universities, organizations, whatever, and just be like, pay me $5,000 and put me on stage to speak for 30 minutes. Then be like, we don't have a problem with paying that money, but we got a problem with paying it to somebody who can't provide us any proof. So you gonna have to prove. So you wonder why you getting blown off. You wonder why nobody wanted to mess with you or whatever. It's like, oh man, I'm really good at what I do. Why? But you don't have any proof. So who gonna listen to you? But when you become an authority by writing the books, right? Because you have multiple. Yeah. You have multiple books. By writing the books and showing people a step-by-step process on how you can be successful in this industry, that is something completely different than somebody coming out the blue saying, oh, I can do that. I can show you how to do it. All right, well, give me something tangible, right? You can't just give me the information. You can't just say you can do it. I don't know if that's true.
You know what happened a couple of days ago?
Here we go.
An artist threw in, I don't remember if she posted or she threw it in her stories, but she tagged me in it, and it was a quote, and it had my name under the quote. And, I liked it, and I sent her the message. I'm like...
Did you actually say it?
It's in my book.
Oh, all right.
so technically, I never said it, but I did write it, you know? And I sent her the message. I'm like, that's deep. I'm like, I wrote that?
Wow.
I'm like, I said that? And she, she was like, you wrote it. It's in your book, So I sent her back the message laughing. I'm like, see, that's why I write stuff down.
Right.
It's freestyle, so you're not gonna get it back again. It just caught it in the vibe. Yeah. I don't remember half the stuff I say after I say it.
Right.
And especially if I'm, channeling, I'm just being a vessel. Whatever's coming out is coming out. So if we ain't catch that, I don't even remember what the heck I said because it really wasn't me for real.
I feel you. Now you see now you touching on something.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
That's a whole nother podcast. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. I don't know if they're ready for that part.
I ain't gonna hit them on it, but it's like, so I encapsulate that information, that energy that's in that moment, and I put it into the books. So people can pick it up at any time. Sometimes they're reminders. Not everything is brand new to you, but sometimes you need to be reminded of things. So I had to do this series. So Tripping Over Canvases is going to be a series of 3 books. It's currently 2. So the first one was How to Open Your Own Art Gallery with No Prior Experience. Like you said, show and prove. I did that. So I wrote how I did it for anybody else that might want to do it.
And that's the first one right there.
Yes. Not only the physical space, but, your online and everything like that, which was perfect timing coming into what we just went through and everything. All the information was already in the book. Then I wanted to touch the people that didn't have that goal necessarily to kind of own their own thing, but they still want to take control of their own business. They still want to own their own business and what it is that they do. So I got the Tripping Over Canvases, How to Become a Successful Entrepreneur, which is, an art entrepreneur. Because an artist is a business, whether you realize it or not. And the faster you realize you're a business, the faster you conduct yourself as a business, Right. So you don't get snaked up in all of those deals from the beginning because you're not thinking yourself as a business, but you are. So I wanted information that can help someone, that's going to be mobile, that just wants to, set themselves up for success. So even things like, properly, registering your business so you can be eligible for a business credit, and then how you can position those things to, to leverage more opportunities in your community and more how to put together collaborations, to spread word fast and different things like that, to take some of the, the pressure off of your plate for you to be successful. So I got all that down in this one. And then the third one is going to be Tripping Over Canvases, how to curate your way to success. And in that book is, it's all about curation. So, not only exhibitions or spaces or buildings, but curating your art career and how you want it to look. So if you wanted to look like this at the end, this is the way you would do that, So it's always figure out the destination and then find a vehicle that's going to take you to get there. Because every vehicle can't get you to the same spot. Right. You know what I mean? I'm trying to go to Ghana. I can't take a car. You know what I mean? It don't matter. Rolls Royce, it don't matter. It ain't getting me there. It's the wrong vehicle to get to that destination. So figuring out that destination, then getting the right vehicle. I might need a single S engine Cessna or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is I got to do, or jump on a commercial flight or whatever it is. But figuring that out. So this will help people get to where the destination is at, on this one. And then the third one should be out at the end of the year. But I'm currently working on interim book, actually, which is not part of the Tripping Over Canvas series, but is titled The Shy Artist's Guide to Art Sales.
You consider yourself to be an introvert?
I definitely am. I mean, of course, I have ambivert abilities.
I'm about to say, because I don't think a person can really tell once they get to know you.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I used to kind of call it shyness, and everybody that knows me would be like, "Oh, you're not shy," you say whatever, and I'm kind of shied out and stuff. So, but I didn't understand what it was. So yeah, I had approach anxiety and stuff like that, which is a form of shyness and introversion. But it's usually once a conversation is going, I can go with it or whatever, and I can talk with the best of them. But my recharge is internal. Mm-hmm. I need my me time every day. Like, I don't care if my day was hectic and now I'm tired at night. Like, I'm fighting sleep to spend 20 minutes with myself, just reading or, burning or whatever it is I'm going to do away from everybody. I go sit in the car, if I happen to be, chill with my girl for the evening. It's like, all right, cool, bet. I'm going to go, chill for 20 minutes or whatever to get my me time. I need that. And I look at someone, she's like, yeah, it's like something about like revenge me time or something like that. Not nothing against, her, but like, it's like no matter what, you're going to get that time, at some point in time. That's a non-negotiable. So yeah, I might, walk over to, the park and walk by the water and everything, which is a creative recharge too, but I need that. Else I can't deal with people. And the more people I have to deal with, the more mentally prepared I got to be beforehand. Like, you're not going to just be like, oh, let's just run to the city and I need days in advance. Like, you're not getting me to New York with all that different energy. Like, no, I'm not doing it. I've learned how to shield my energies and stuff more now, but especially younger, I'm like, I'm coming back feeling crazy. I'm out there like anxiety, like I'm bouncing off all the wall because it's just I'm absorbing way too much. I'm just way too empathic to this, and I didn't understand what that was this time. I didn't understand. That's another podcast. But I didn't understand a lot of things that I understand now, so I really couldn't do it then. Even now, it's like, all right, I need to be mentally prepared. I might need to spend this whole day by myself in order to go to New York tomorrow, and go do whatever, because I need to fully charge my tank. Because that's going to be depleted. Like, I've seen some of the memes, like, an introvert, once their social battery runs out at a party, now they're sitting there looking like that. Like, I've had that, plenty of times. So it's like, I don't want that. And then my energy, especially my face, is like, it's so authentic, you can read, you know what I mean? And stuff. So it's like, I don't want to, rub anybody the wrong way or make them think, and when it has nothing to do with them, at all. But you can't say how people take things, though, so it's like, it's like, bro, you know what I mean? It's a wrap for me. So I'm definitely an introvert, but I know that often doesn't get business handled. So I got to go handle business. So it's just like, you going to be quiet, you going to be by yourself, or you going to eat. Right. Because if you don't open your mouth, you're gonna be by yourself starving. Right. I get you. So at least you can go back and eat by yourself and get your me time then if you open your mouth over here and say that you need to be fed. So, because I gotta handle business, I can come out of it and I can do my job. I can turn on, But I'd rather not be on as much as I can help it.
Got you. Now it's funny because we're opposite of each other. So I'm a high extrovert. So I actually, like, the more people that are around me, like when, like, if I have a stage and there's thousands of people, I give more energy. Like I feed off their energy in the crowd, and I create a bigger presentation, a stronger presentation. I can't tell you why or how it works. It's just like forget what I put on the like the PowerPoint presentation. All I needed was this energy here, and I get that, and it's just bow, and they're just like, yo, where that come from? It's like he got all this energy out of nowhere. It's like, bro, I feed off the crowd, I feed off the people, so that's why I get my energy from people. I lose energy when I'm by myself for too long, right? So yeah, it's crazy how people just work in different ways. So one of the things I definitely wanted to go over with you before we get ready to close this thing out is, yo, people have to understand that it took some time for you to become as successful as you've been able to be with this art studio. So if you can break it down to them, just let them know what the first like couple years were like. Just getting it off the ground. The first day the doors open, like how long did it take for you to actually pick up steam?
Well, we had a little help, a little easement financially because coming in, I was able to negotiate the first couple of months rent. Basically like an abatement situation. So the first couple of months rent free, to give us time to renovate because we had to renovate. The space was used for a couple of different things before we got here, and we needed to look totally different.
Right.
Like I said, it took me 2 weeks just to build the stage. We built this hallway closet. We built the bathroom closet. The walls were not white. There were holes in them. From racks being up as a retail spot and all that. Like it was a lot going on. And we needed time to do that, especially because we're going to be doing it ourselves. We didn't have the finances to be hiring out to do all of this stuff. So it took us, which is relatively fast again now that I'm finding out, but it took us almost it was 11 months, almost shy of a full year, to not have to come out of pocket, to pay rent and stuff. And there's definitely things that I wish, we figured out later that we should have, could have figured out sooner and, could have been out of the situation sooner. But before that, we were, we had whatever our living expenses had them to be, outside of this, and then rent for this place as well, too, And I'm talking about, we would profit like 1,000, but everything is 3,000. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, we got another 1,000, per person, coming out, every month type of situation, on top of everything else that you had going on. So we made some sacrifices, move some things around so it can happen, downsize a lot of things so we can have, the money to hold on to, when things started clicking. So it was rough, in the beginning. And it was definitely times in between then and now where, we kind of wanted to stop, especially when you get those months. So now it goes from coming out of pocket to everything is covered, but, not much excess still. So it's kind of like you spinning your wheels. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's costing you time and stuff, but it's not giving you, anything.
Return on investment.
Financially, what at that stage you should really be focused on is planting as many seeds as possible.
Right.
So when you start harvesting later, you're able to harvest often because so many seeds are planted and different things ripen at different times.
Right.
So this right, let me get that, and then if you take that one next, but I've planted those a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, that are finally, ready for harvest. So I definitely didn't go all in on that, and really going into relationship building, probably compiling favors and all that stuff at the time that I would do now. Didn't do it at the time because coming in, we were experiencing, nepotism and, different things coming into, new community, coming into, you being a new guy in the industry, type of things like that. And nobody necessarily wanted to help you out. People kind of wanting to see what you're going to do on your own without them helping. People that actually have the power to help, most of them want to, let me see what you do on your own. See if you make it through there, and then I'll help you. It's like, I might not like I can make it if you help me, but you just going, don't mean him, let's see if he can swim, and then I'll teach him how to swim for real.
Right.
Like, see if you can figure out a way to tread or not drown, and then if I see you don't drown, now I'll teach him how to swim, which is backwards thinking.
Yeah.
But it's something particularly that happens often with our people. Especially if you had to struggle to get there, people are like, I had to struggle. You should struggle too. Why should I make it easier for him? It's not me. That's why, why I put it there. And then the faster you can get there, especially if you're looking at me as an authority, as somebody who, might influence or gave you at least a piece of the puzzle to get there. Now you can turn around and, help my situation, or we can collab on something or whatever it is. So I'm all for that, but that's not typically the case. But because we were facing those type of adversities, it kind of was like, had that masculine energy, like, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to make this happen, type of thing. Kind of clammed up even more, and we made so many things happen that it did open up doors for us because people turned around, was like, okay, these guys are going to be here no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, we're not giving them any assistance. They still got things clicking, They still bringing more people from outside of New Brunswick to New Brunswick, still got all this event going, still doing stuff for the community, still giving out food, still giving out clothes, still doing art therapy, free for the transitional population, like still making it happen, doing all the things that you should be doing. So then it becomes,
that's another conversation.
Yeah, it becomes a point where it's like everyone wants to be involved with you now because they look crazy by not being
a
involved.
part of it.
They're like, how is all this going on? And y'all ain't got nothing to do with whatever, So then the conversations change, more phone calls come, you get more emails, different type of stuff. And then, when they come to the door, you got to stand them up, put some respect on that, get this together. I'm not, what's free? What? No, let's work, And then the business acumen come and you start working on that. But so our path, I'm hoping, more, difficult than other people's. It should be, especially with they grab one of these Tripping Over Canvases books. But it wasn't easy. I smile and sometimes make it, sound a little easier, but it's kind of my disposition on things.
I get you. So, all right. So we're getting ready to close this thing out. So let's close this thing out with a final thought. Right now, I already know what you're gonna say. Because let's go with that one. Let's go because we ain't put the other one out, so we're gonna go with this. So for all y'all listening, listen, this is a real podcast, bro. Like, we literally did a full interview before and it didn't go as planned, so we did a second one. Why? Because it's important for y'all to hear his story. Now, I already know what he about to say for the final thought, but I'm not about to stop him from saying what I know he about to say because I feel like y'all need to hear it. So with that being said, Dontae.
Final piece of advice would be to lotion your butt. You have to lotion your butt. If you don't lotion your butt, your skin will itch because it's dehydrated. If it itches, you have to scratch it, and you never want to get caught scratching your butt. Lotion your butt.
You heard what he said, lotion your butt. Your mama told you back in the day. Shouldn't have to tell you this on the podcast.
It's all about the nuances. Take care of your business.
Right. But listen, thank y'all for taking the time to be here with us, listening to Dontae's story, because it is definitely a powerful story. And without Dontae and Will and all that they've put together, all that they've done, I wouldn't be here. Hidden Gems would not be here. So we are definitely thankful for you guys. We appreciate you. Love you to life. I know people like to say love you to death, but love you to life, bro. Appreciate you. So listen. Boy Brad, B-Rad Butler II. I encourage every last one of you to make your next day your best day. Why? Because the work you've done today is not enough to get you through tomorrow. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.